Hello, and welcome to today's investor presentation with Argent Minerals. Managing Director Pedro Kastellorizos is looking forward to telling us about Argent's recent activities and the exciting upcoming programs. There will be an opportunity for questions following Pedro's presentation. Please use the Q&A box in the Zoom app. Pedro, I will hand over to you to get us underway.
Okay, Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the webinar today. I will be briefly talking about the past 12 months of exciting exploration results and the future of Argent Minerals. This section is just highlighting the disclaimer with a picture showing the banded high-grade zinc mineralization over at Kempfield deposits, which is shown as a creamy yellow color. Argent Minerals is a junior explorer who has very advanced projects compared to its market capitalization. During this presentation, I will be briefly talking about Kempfield and the Copperhead projects. Our assets have a critical role to play in the green energy sector. With our portfolio, we have silver, zinc, and copper. Silver is now part of the clean energy sector through the usage of solar panels. Also, zinc is the main component of zinc batteries. Just on the basis of those two commodities, we have one of the largest silver resources in New South Wales based on our 128 million ounce silver resource. Copper is now also listed as a critical minerals, which we are currently exploring over our Copperhead project. Our company has no debt, with over 40% of shareholders within the top 20 holding the stock. We have a strong support based on the company's vision and the future path we are currently holding. Just a brief summary of silver and its usage. Silver demand worldwide has increased over 300% in the last 10 years based on the usage within the green energy sector. Currently, copper has been replaced within solar panels with silver. The Chinese have developed silver paste, which has been applied on the outer solar panel and is a better conductor of electricity and is non-corrosive compared to its copper counterpart. Silver will eventually become one of an industrial mineral and metal compared to its status as a precious metal, hence the price increase due to its high demand. The demand will outstrip silver productions such as countries within the US and Europe, as major investment up to $500 billion have been firmed up in the next 2 years just to keep the domestic supply ongoing. Countries like the US are not really depending on supply of silver outside of its own borders, so it's just basically firming up and securing its own domestic supplies moving forward. Kempfield. The Kempfield deposit is located within a major resource endowment area within New South Wales. We have companies surrounding us varying from hundreds to billion-dollar market caps such as Newmont. This is based on the world-class province, holds world-class deposits proximal to where we are currently situated. The project is also situated within historic mining centres with excellent workforce and pro-mining communities. Historically, Kempfield has always been drilled to shallow depths, targeting silver as the main resource. In the past 12 months, we have mainly focused on defining deeper extensions of the three main mineralized lodes. We have successfully increased the previous resource 28% based on extending the main ore zones beyond 300 vertical meters at depth. From this work, Kempfield has currently have an in-ground value of up to $4 billion. When you compare Argent to Silver Mines investigator resources, we are currently undervalued between 6 to 10 times. Argent's market capitalizations versus per ounce of silver provides an extremely high value silver investment compared to Silver Mines and investigator. The current strike of the Kempfield deposit is greater than 2.2 kilometers and still open at depth. The story of Kempfield has not been told yet. We have massive potential to extend the resource at depth, but also along its north, east, and southwest zones. We also have accumulated massive exploration targets areas outside of the resource that are strongly geochemical in its surface expression, and these targets vary between 400 and up to 1.7 kilometers, which remains untested by drilling. We have potentially a great chance of increasing the overall resource tonnage and grade of the Kempfield once we start drilling these new defined zones. We also have an exciting mining future based on the cheap heap leach mining methods and more developed open pit and underground high grade operations, as the current grade supports these mining endeavours. Argent will have a very busy 2024 year with further work done on the metallurgical studies planned on the oxide and transitional zones, with surface sampling to test these areas to the east and also to the north and south, but also potentially to commence new drilling programs over these new target zones. We are also planning to commence an economic scoping study to determine the capex of these several mining scenarios. Copperhead. Why Copperhead? Copper is now listed as a critical mineral, as very little discoveries have been made in the last decade. We acquired the project in late 2022 based on the exploration potential of the Gascoyne area, which has been classified as a very underexplored but very highly prospective geological province in Western Australia. We accumulated over 1,000 square kilometres of ground, and we are surrounded by major ASX listed companies worth hundreds of millions of dollars surrounding us. In the last 12 months, we've been very active over the Copperhead project. We've actually delineated all grade copper assays within 5 different zones. We have also delineated anomalous zinc grades, but also strong silver grades associated with the copper as extra credits. We have also accumulated and completed reprocessing of airborne EM surveys, which have delineated over 15 walk-up drill targets. EM is a method used to discover copper mineralization at depth, as copper is conductive and prone to electrical responses. Our target depths vary between 40 and up to 170 meters, which have been classified as shallow and will be drill tested during the 2024 field season. Through our work done through geophysical and also geochemical exploration programs, we have outlined various styles of mineralization, varying from lithium to SEDEX lead zinc, and also potentially stratiform copper through intrusive nickel copper platinum group element dikes. First Quantum Minerals have been successful in locating nickel and copper PG targets about 25 kilometres southwest of where we currently are. We are currently working through the native title and approval process from the Western Australia Department of Mines for us to commence drilling next year. We'll be focusing on testing the outcropping high-grade copper mineralization, but also to be testing the EM targets delineated below the surface based on the electromagnetic survey. Argent also has gold assets in New South Wales, proximal to the Kempfield deposit. Currently, as part of the portfolio, we have 2 gold JORC resource proximal to the Kempfield deposits. These are the Mount Dudley and the Pine Ridge project. Kempfield is potentially earmarked as a process centre for all surrounding deposits mined. We can truck to these areas from site as they fall all within the economic parameters of mining. Argent Minerals has a clear focus for a roadmap for exploration and potentially mining in the future. We are focused on providing metals which are currently changing the world. Both projects, Kempfield and Copperhead, will be running simultaneously, as Kempfield will be developing into a potential mining producer, but at the same time Copperhead will be running unison in delineating new copper discoveries within the next 12 months. Thank you very much for attending and appreciate the time. I will open the floor back to Andrew. Any questions?
Thanks, Pedro, for that presentation. You've obviously got two pretty exciting projects there. So we'll open the floor up to any questions. Just use the Q&A box in the Zoom app. So have one question that's just come through. Pedro, you mentioned the heap leach production at Kempfield. Can you provide a few more details on that and sort of a timeline of how quickly that could happen?
In terms of timeline, we obviously have to get the New South Wales regulator to give us the approvals, but it's a very simple process by which you basically dig up the ore, which is outcropping, which we are very fortunate in that. And some of the actual zones that comprise within the actual resource are up to 4 ounces of silver. So it's a very simple process. You dig up the ore, you stockpile it into large areas. You put acid on those dumps, and the gold and the silver actually leaches out of the rock and produces an actual concentrate. And from that concentrate, you start pouring silver and gold bars. So in terms of timeline, you're looking between 15 and 18 months. Once we finish the scoping studies and the full mining feasibility, which will give us the total amount of funding required to commence that work.
Excellent. Okay, another question that's come through is just in regards to Copperhead and the mineralisation and what actually excites you about the mineralisation at Copperhead, Pedro?
Well, it's basically this. This is high-grade copper, which is sitting on the surface. So when you walk over the surface, you don't really see it, but as you actually break these type of rocks, you can see that it's absolutely flooded with malachite, which is an oxidized version of copper. Metallurgical studies have indicated we can get up to 96% recovery from this, and it's a very simple process. So usually the actual copper deposits, they vary between 2 and 5%. This type of rock is running plus 20%, extremely high grade, very valued.
Excellent. Pedro, I guess just a question. You've been in the MD role now, or joined Argent for just over a year. How do you see things progressing, and where would you like to be in another 12 months?
Within 12 months, I would love to see us actually start delineating copper deposits up in the Gascoyne. And obviously, within that 12 months, we'll be in a better situation in terms of outlining the actual economics and the capex of getting Kempfield into production. But we are very fortunate with Kempfield that we've got several lines of production. We can look at heap leaching, we can look at open pit mining, we could even look at a potential high-grade underground scenario as well. So we're very fortunate with Kempfield being so robust, but at the same time, we have extremely large amounts of untested exploration targets, which essentially double the current resource of Kempfield, would make us probably the second or third largest silver deposit in Australia.
Excellent. So that's all the questions that have actually come through today. I would like to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. Thanks, Pedro. If there are follow-up questions, and it looks like my video is just going on the blink a little bit, you can contact Pedro or myself. Pedro, I'll hand over to you for your final thoughts.
Sorry, Andrew, I just got a question from Adrian. It says, you have mentioned in a previous report that lithium is also targeted at Copperhead. Could you please speak about the potential at Copperhead? Sure. one of the exploration licenses, known as Telfer South, we have mapped over 5 kilometres of outcropping pegmatites. Now, we have done very limited work in terms of its lithium potentials. We were up there as of last week. We've collected approximately another 30 samples to look at the actual lithium potential there. So based on our first exploration program, we have actually seen the fact that the lithium actually falls within the rare earth pegmatites, and it is fractionated. So we require more work, but we've got all the right ingredients and the right geological setting that it may actually host lithium.
Okay. Pedro, another question has come through. What price does silver have to be to make it economical to mine?
Well, again, it's based on different scenarios. If you're looking at a heap leach operation, you would look at a lower silver price for it to become economic. You're looking to be an open pitable or underground, you're looking at least 30 to 35 Australian dollars to start looking to be economic.
All right. Let me just wait a couple of seconds to see if there's any more late-minute questions. I haven't seen any new ones come through. So, Pedro, I'll just hand it back to you to finish off the webinar for today. Thank you.
Yeah, so in terms of where Argent is going, we've got an exciting 12 months ahead of us. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got the right team, we've got the right board, and we've got the right backers. And basically watch this space, and I'm sure that you'll be pleasantly surprised as to the movements of the company in the next 12 months.
Good. Thank you very much.